big photos, all-inclusive promises, and a vacation that left thousands of real guests counting down the days until they could go home. These Cancun resorts look great online, but tell a very different story once you check in. Today, we are counting down the 5 worst all-inclusive resorts in Cancun for 2026. Stay until the end because number 1 is going to shock you. If this video helped you plan a better vacation, subscribing takes 1 second and means you will never have to research alone again. Starting at number 5, Crown Paradise Club Cancun. Crown Paradise Club Cancun is a family-focused all-inclusive resort in the Cancun hotel zone that has attracted a steady stream of bookings over the years from travelers who are drawn in by its affordable pricing, its child-friendly facilities, and an all-inclusive package that looks like a solid deal for families who want a fun and relaxed Mexican beach vacation without overspending. But the consistent pattern of guest feedback from 2024 and 2025 tells a story of a resort that is increasingly struggling to deliver even the basic standard of experience that families booking an all-inclusive vacation have every right to expect from the moment they arrive. The rooms are one of the most frequently discussed areas of disappointment, with guests describing accommodation that feels noticeably dated and poorly maintained for a family resort at this price point, with worn furnishings, aging fixtures, inconsistent air conditioning performance, and cleanliness on arrival that a number of guests said fell below what they considered acceptable for a property currently charging the rates Crown Paradise commands in the Cancun market. The food is the single most consistently criticized feature across recent reviews, with the buffet described by multiple guests as offering very limited variety, below-average preparation quality, and a daily rotation that becomes repetitive within the first 2 days of a week-long stay, making mealtimes feel like a disappointing obligation rather than one of the highlights of an all-inclusive holiday. Service throughout the property is described as inconsistent and slow, with guests noting that basic requests and complaints raised during the stay were often met with delayed responses and a lack of genuine effort to resolve issues in a way that would allow families to enjoy the remainder of their vacation. Crown Paradise Club Cancun is a resort that needs serious investment in its rooms, its food program, and its service standards before it can honestly claim to deliver the enjoyable family vacation experience its pricing and its marketing continue to promise. At number 4, Oasis Palm Cancun. Oasis Palm Cancun is a large, all-inclusive property that markets itself as a fun and family-friendly vacation destination in the Cancun hotel zone, drawing guests in with its pool setup, its beach access, and an all-inclusive package that looks appealing on paper at the price point it occupies in the Cancun market. But the volume and consistency of negative guest feedback from recent years paint a clear picture of a resort where the gap between the promotional promise and the actual experience on the ground is wide enough to represent a genuine and serious warning to any traveler considering booking here for 2026. The rooms are among the most criticized features of the Oasis Palm experience, with guests across multiple review platforms describing accommodation that feels outdated, poorly maintained, and in some cases not properly cleaned on arrival, with maintenance issues including broken amenities, aging air conditioning units, and bathroom standards that fall below what any all-inclusive guest should have to tolerate, regardless of the rate paid. The food is the area that draws the harshest and most consistent criticism from previous guests, with the buffet described as one of the weakest dining experiences in the entire Cancun hotel zone, featuring limited variety, poor food quality, and a standard of preparation that guests consistently say fell well below what they expected, even given the budget positioning of the resort. The pool area, while large, is described as overcrowded and not consistently maintained during peak periods, removing much of the enjoyment that the pool setup should naturally provide. Oasis Palm Cancun is a resort where the all-inclusive price becomes a very poor value when you honestly account for the quality of what that price actually delivers. If any of these resorts are on your booking list, please check the links below right now. There are far better options available in Cancun at similar or only slightly higher prices that will give you the vacation you actually deserve. At number 3, Grand Oasis Cancun. Grand Oasis Cancun is one of the largest all-inclusive resorts in the entire Cancun hotel zone and it trades heavily on its enormous scale, its extensive facilities list, and a price point that makes it look like exceptional value on booking platforms where the sheer volume of what appears to be included creates a very compelling first impression. But the honest and consistent message from recent guest reviews is that the Grand Oasis Cancun is a resort where size has become a serious liability, creating an overcrowded, understaffed, and deeply inconsistent experience that falls short of what guests have every right to expect when they commit to an all-inclusive vacation. Overcrowding is the single most universally mentioned complaint across the entire review history of this property, with guests describing pool areas packed beyond comfortable capacity, restaurant queues that stretch to genuinely frustrating lengths, beach sections where finding a sun lounger requires waking up unreasonably early, and a general atmosphere that feels more like a crowded theme park than a relaxing Caribbean resort. The food receives consistently poor marks from recent guests, with the buffet described as struggling to keep pace with the volume of guests it serves, resulting in quality and temperature issues that appear in enough reviews to represent an ongoing operational failure rather than occasional bad nights. Service is described throughout multiple reviews as stretched, thin, and inconsistent, with staff who are clearly dealing with more guests than the team can comfortably manage, in a way that affects almost every interaction throughout the stay. Grand Oasis Cancun is a resort where the low price reflects a low experience, and travelers who book based on value alone consistently come home, wishing they had spent a little more at a significantly better property. At number 2, Park Royal Beach Cancun. Park Royal Beach Cancun is a resort that has occupied a mid-range position in the Cancun all-inclusive market for many years, attracting guests with its beachfront location, its pool setup, and a pricing structure that suggests a comfortable and decent quality vacation experience in one of Mexico's most popular tourist destinations. But the growing and consistent pattern of negative guest feedback from 2024 and 2025 makes it very difficult to recommend this property to any traveler planning a Cancun vacation in 2026, with complaints across rooms, food, and service appearing with enough frequency and enough seriousness to represent genuine and ongoing operational problems rather than isolated incidents. The rooms are the most consistently discussed source of disappointment, described by recent guests as dated, poorly maintained, and lacking the design, quality, and comfort features that comparable Cancun all-inclusive resorts at similar or lower price points are currently delivering, with aging furnishings, inconsistent air conditioning, and bathroom standards that guests say fell below their reasonable expectations on arrival. The food receives particularly persistent criticism from previous visitors, with the buffet described as uninspiring, repetitive, and below the standard that any all-inclusive guest should have to accept given the premise of the all-inclusive format itself, and with the limited specialty restaurant options, drawing equally mixed feedback from guests who had hoped for something better than the buffet at dinner. Service is described as uneven throughout the property, with responsiveness to guest complaints and requests varying significantly depending on the day and the area of the resort. Park Royal Beach Cancun is a resort that needs meaningful investment in renovation and a serious uplift in food quality before it can honestly claim the mid-range market position it currently occupies. And finally, at number 1, the worst all-inclusive resort in Cancun right now, Gran Caribe Real Resort and Spa. Gran Caribe Real Resort and Spa is a Cancun hotel zone property that has been part of the local all-inclusive market for a long time, and for an extended period, it maintained a reputation as a reasonable and enjoyable mid-range option for families and couples who wanted a solid beach vacation at an accessible price in one of Mexico's most iconic resort destinations. But the consistent and growing volume of serious guest complaints from 2024 and 2025 paints an honest picture of a resort that has been allowed to fall into a state of decline that makes it genuinely difficult to recommend to any traveler, regardless of their expectations or their tolerance for imperfection during a vacation they worked hard to plan and afford. The rooms are at the center of almost every significant complaint that guests raise, with accommodation described across multiple review platforms as being in urgent need of comprehensive renovation, featuring broken fixtures, worn and uncomfortable furniture, air conditioning systems that multiple guests reported as inadequate, and cleanliness standards on arrival that a number of reviewers described as genuinely unacceptable for any paid accommodation operating under the all-inclusive banner. The food is the second major and equally persistent area of serious guest dissatisfaction, with the dining experience described by a significant number of recent reviewers as one of the most disappointing aspects of the entire stay, featuring a buffet with poor variety, low food quality, temperature management issues, and an overall standard of meal preparation that leaves guests feeling the all-inclusive package is not delivering even the basic value it implicitly promises. That is all for now. If your resort is on this list, please check the links below right away, because there are genuinely outstanding all-inclusive options available in Cancun that will give you the vacation you actually deserve. We put a lot of heart into every review, so you can spend your money on the right resort and your time on memories that actually matter. Subscribing helps us keep doing exactly that. And tell us in the comments, have you stayed at any of these resorts and did your experience match what we described? We read every single comment and would love to hear your story. Thanks for watching.